brewed and coffee. Got my coffee here. Yum, yum, yum. Starting off a little bit later today, which is okay because it's my birthday. Whee! Yay! Awesome. So excited about that. I love birthdays. Okay. So whenever you guys have birthdays and you're on here, let me know and I will sing happy birthday. You may not like the way it sounds. You may be like, but I still would do it because I think we should be celebrating ourselves and loving ourselves and being proud of everything that we have accomplished in our lives, where you are today, and also acknowledgement. I think that's a big one. I want to talk about is acknowledging yourself. So many people do so many great things in their life. They're constantly, doing I don't know, big things, and then they never, ever, ever. Yay! Thanks, Tony. They never acknowledge the things that they actually are doing in their life. So, there's times when people are doing projects or they're working on certain things. Oh, you're welcome. Of course, anytime. You motivation station. Woo woo. We get to be motivated. That's what it's about, right? Like I was talking to my cousin today. And just being able to have that connection to people, right? Being able to have the understanding and compassion and listen to people. Sometimes people just want to be heard, right? They want to be heard. They want their ideas out there, and don't be afraid to speak up. You're going to have your haters, right? I have haters. It's okay. I ain't everybody's cup of coffee, and it's okay. Some people like it a little bit more bitter. Some people like it a little more sweet. I could be in the middle. I can be bitter and some days I could be sweet, but it's okay because I'm human, right? We're all human. But acknowledging the wins, acknowledging what we're up to, being proud of what we have done and accomplished, right? We've accomplished so much. Good morning, Roberto. And it's just amazing to me, how we sort of minimalize the great things that we do. And then we continue to go on and we're so hard on ourselves, especially now. There's a lot of people that are just maybe not feeling proud of where they're at, or maybe they're feeling sad about the fact that um, life has just been turned upside down, gone in a whirlwind, but acknowledging where you're at right now and all of that you have accomplished. Now, if you've done it once, you can do it again. That is the cool thing. That is how life works. Okay. Life is like this. If you know how to co create, right? If you know how to create, and if you know how to move forward, and if you've built something up, but it's been torn down, remember that you knew how to build it up. Remember that you knew how to build from the very foundation that you laid. So for those that are like, I don't know what to do, I'm in this chaos, I don't know, you've done it before, except you've done it at a tinier scale. We're constantly going through stuff, you guys, constantly. We're never not in suffering. We're always suffering, right? At least most people, okay? If there's someone who isn't suffering, kudos. Tell us how not to suffer, right? We do have a formula, right, to get out of suffering. Doesn't mean it goes away. It just means we learn how to process the suffering faster. Difference. It's only difference, right? Is practicing, learning how to practice to find the stillness, the calm, and the peace of mind. But if you've done it once, so let's just say that you were a business owner, let's just say you had a job, I don't know, whatever has happened, right? Wherever you are in your life, whatever you've built up to this point, if something got taken away, remember, you were able to build it. And the next time that you build, it's faster. Why? It's faster because you're practiced more. You have more practice, so you're able to move a little bit faster than before. That's what practice is for, right? So we can get better, so we can kind of fine tune those parts of ourselves that are like a little bit off. And then we keep fine tuning it, right? And part of it is having a coach. I have a coach. I have a coach for all of my life. The things that I'm not that good at, right? So if I'm not good at, like, for instance, nutrition, I love eating healthy, but I have a nutritionist who helps me, right? Yes, go. Thank you, Tom, for telling me happy birthday. I appreciate that. Yes, go work in your yard. Go out, be with the sun, get your vitamin D. That's very healthy. As everybody should be staying healthy on during this time. Um, but we just tweak things just a little bit, right? So that we can then find out how do we stay on this path that we're able to synergize and move things forward and able to create. And it's just a little tweak sometimes. It's just a little adjustment. And then we bring ourselves back to center. But when we have a foundation, and I talked about this is the year of foundations. Um, for me, it's a four, you know, I'm 40. There you go. Now y'all know my age. Um, but in knowing that it's a 4 year for me, meaning there's four, so that's foundational, right? And I can say, well, what are the four pillars that I want to stand on that I won't waver from? And that foundation is something we can always come back to. Setting foundations is super important. Why? Because when something catastrophic happens, we can start to build up from those foundations. We have tiny little catastrophes happen all the time. Maybe it's a death of a loved one. Maybe it could be anything, right? They stole my car. Like you guys have seen that. Those who've followed me for a long time, they stole my vehicle. That's happened over and over and over and over and over again. Those little tiny things that happen in our life that we're like, well, I wasn't planning for that to happen. And it just happens. And there's different ways now we can get upset about the situation, or we can learn how to engage the situation to support us so that next time we're able to handle it better in a more meaningful way. It's kind of like I was talking, my mom, um, it's kind of funny. I'll tell the story because we were talking about it this morning, but she had asked me to move the refrigerator for her. And I said, okay. So I moved the refrigerator. And then there was this tiny leak of water that was coming out. And I was like, oh no, there's a leak. And she went and she was touching it. And then it just became a bunch of water. And she was freaking out. And I told her, look, we've got to learn to just breathe through it and come up with a way to move forward. Otherwise, we get stuck, right? And if we get stuck, it gets bigger, 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 bigger. Instead of taking a deep breath and thinking, okay, how can I engage this situation from peace, from harmony? It's still the situation's there, but I can change the way that I engage the situation. That's all you can do. Can't change what is. What is what is, right? We can only change how we perceive it and how we engage it. And then when we're able to bring ourselves back to some basic foundational principles like peace, tranquility, harmony, balance, whatever it is for you, and then we can engage the situation from a peaceful state of mind, and then we make better decisions. We make better decisions for ourselves. And then we understand, and when we slow down, we understand that sometimes when we act out of panic or haste, that the decisions that we're making can be they can lead to bigger consequences of harming others. When we pause and we think about it, we're like, oh, okay, this may not be so catastrophic if I just approached it from this direction. And if I'm calm down and I take a deep breath, then I can do that. So set up the foundations for your life. And also, when you're starting to engage situations and you're setting up the foundations and they're not as big as you thought they were, you're able to then start creating. And once you start creating, be proud of what you created. We don't acknowledge, like, this is a big thing, right? I was talking to a friend that acknowledgement is a hard one for us, right? Good morning, Rick. It's a hard one for us to say that I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of where I've come. I acknowledge all the things that I do as leaders, as forward thinkers, the ones that are constantly creating and thinking futuristic and thinking like, how do I how do I move forward? Thank you for the birthday wish. I appreciate that. That when we drive things forward over and over and over and over, we forget to look at like back behind us and say, wow, look at what I have created. Okay. Bring yourself back to the foundations. Okay. Bring yourself back to the basics and then start to build again. Okay, so we look at Masonic principles, right? What is Mason? Masonries were stone carvers. They knew how to do architecture. Okay, simply put. They knew how to do architecture. They built buildings. They understood sacred geometry. They understood how to put bricks together and carve out of different things. And so they're Masonic principles, right? And then we put Masonic principles into the spirit itself, and they sort of created the Masons, right? So Masonic, what does that even mean? If you go to their, if you actually go through their museum or whatnot, you'll see that they've taken the stone, and they show how you create the masterpiece from the stone. What does masonry mean? You know, it means that we are constantly a piece of art. We're working on our piece of art all the time, and that is who we are. Little pieces. We chisel out a little, we set the foundation, but the biggest part of it is setting the foundation, right? We have to have a good foundation. If we don't build good foundations, then what ends up happening is when a catastrophe comes along, everything gets wiped out. But if you have a powerful foundation, look at the pyramids, right? If you set up a solid foundation, it'll last for a long time. So your foundations, and if we looked at Masonic principles from the principle perspective, right, from the human perspective, the soul, we would set up our own principles as the foundation, and then sort of build upon those principles. So it's not about the material and what we're creating on the external world. It's really how are we setting the foundation on the internal, and then we take what's internal and we express it on the external. It could look different, and it changes and it shifts, and that's what we see is happening right now. We see a shift and a transformation happening on a global scale. New principles are rising. Again, if you look at dispositionalism, you'll see that there's different administrative processes that we're going through. Okay. Historically, right, we've kind of gone through these different political realms. There's different political ideologies. There's different ways that we can manage societies, and there's different ways to engage society. Well, I'm going to engage it from socialists. I'm going to be a capitalist. We're going to be democrats. We're going to be whatever these different ideologies are, right? And we start to look at life. It's really how are we perceiving the world around us? How are we engaging with it? Now, there's going to be individuals who use total manipulation. Now, these characters are going to show up. It's part of the illusion, part of the story. But the one thing that you can control is your own principles, what you set your foundation on. If you set them in a godly way, right? If you set them in a way that the intention is not to harm, the intention is out of love, and you set that foundation, even if these events happen, like the events that are happening now, right? Where there's a total paradigm shift at play right now. Okay. It's called a paradigm shift. The mindset is shifting. We're not going to go back to the way we were. We're entering into the age of Aquarius, the digital era, the digital age. Okay. Everything is going to be digital. As we enter into that digital phase, we need to be able to bring over the principles and foundation. That doesn't have to change. In fact, it won't. In fact, I'm sure programming in a computer has basic principles that it goes back to. So we set the foundations, we rebuild from those. So if you're stuck and you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm at a loss. These things are happening to me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next. Go back to your principles and start to rebuild. Remember, you're a mason. You're building up from your foundation. Create what it is that you choose to create. It's your life, right? I know what I'm creating. Doesn't matter what I'm creating. Who cares? Who gives two craps, right? I don't talk about what I do for my day job. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it doesn't matter. I can tell you how I've created my life, and I can tell you that, and I feel abundant and blessed, but there are basic principles I go back to. I've gone through hell, right? I've gone through whirlwinds. I've gone through ups and downs. Again, human. We're all human. We're all going through the suffering. Nobody escapes it. I don't care who you are. But there is a way to support you through the suffering. Am I the only person who has a formula? No. There's been so many formulas put up there. Everybody has their own way of engaging. The thing is, find your formula, find your medicine, find your process that works for you. My process may not work for you. You may, because you're not going to want to do the things that I do. Your process is perfectly for you. Thank you, Mama, for the happy birthday. I don't know what I would do without you. Good morning, Danny. How are you? I haven't seen you on here for a while. Good to see you here. So let's set those foundations, you guys. That's really what's happening right now. It's an opportunity. Thank you, Danny. Woo woo. Happy birthday. Yay. It's an opportunity for us to start getting ourselves together. Put yourself together. Find what works for you. Again, what works for you is not going to work for me. Thank you, Sandra. And what works for me ain't going to work for you. Find out what's good for you. What's going to support you into your higher self? What's going to support you? Those critical thinking. I love to talk about critical thinking because it's your ability to look at information and create the world that you choose to create. There's a bigger scale, there's bigger things happening. Yes, we know that. Within this system, there's things that are happening that we can't see. We can't see it all. We can't. There's no way we could. We could spend our whole day. I mean, you can research one subject for the rest of your life, which is why science and research is not the best way to look at everything, right? Because I'll tell you this, they look at it through a tiny scope and they look at a tiny piece of it. And sometimes they forget about the whole picture. And they want to narrow into small things, but you can't compartmentalize things. Things are all interconnected in some way, right? Stephen Hawking, the theory of everything. He wanted to find a theory that fit into everything. And was he successful? No, because we can't, there are things that God has created that we cannot understand. We don't even see it. There's all of this air here looks like it's empty, but really there's something there. We can't even see it. We could get then we'll get, okay, we're going to get a telescope, we're going to get a microscope, we're going to look big, we're going to look small. And then we start to narrow, and there's still more stuff. It's never ending. It's like a fractal pattern. Okay, we're in like a fractal pattern. And right now, this pattern, right, is the promise that was given to us, which is a new era. This new era, in my belief, is we have an opportunity to reincarnate into the story again, or we can ascend. That's it. Simple. This 3D world doesn't stop. Nothing to fear. But choose powerfully. Are you going to choose? I'm going to bring it back to this all the time. What is your choice? Are you going to choose to disconnect and go to the woods? Are you going to choose to be in the matrix? That's it. It's very simple. Nothing bad, right, wrong, or good about it. But be prepared. That's it. Simple, okay? And set your foundations. You can take with you your principles. Your principles will always be there. Just like God's always going to be there, right? God's always going to be there. It's like God didn't go away after. So if you look historically, when Buddha crossed the Rainbow Bridge, God didn't go away. When Jesus Christ was crucified, God didn't go away. When now that we're heading into this new digital era, God didn't go away. It's all God. So how could it go away? It can't, right? And however you want to call it, universe, grand design, I am that I am, Yahweh, however you say it, okay? Whatever your belief, we're in this thing and we can't, how I can't get, can you get out of it? Even when we die, do we get out of it? No, because our energy, our DNA, our flesh goes right back into the earth. It doesn't go away completely. The bugs eat it, the bugs have it, and it just recycles over like a fractal pattern over and over and over and over and over again. Perpetuates over again. But you are That makes you what? Immortal, everlasting. No reason to freak out. Okay. Okay, so this was sort of all over the place, right? I just was like it was getting later. I was on the phone with my family member, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I got to get this spirit and coffee in before I'm going to be doing a workout. And then I'm going to enjoy my birthday with my family. And I'm very excited about that. Um, and if it's ever your birthday and you're on here, let me know. Some people are shy with their birthdays, but I love to sing. I love to sing to you guys if you know it's your birthday. I call people on their birthday. That's what I do. I call them and sing to them. Um, what a day, right? To celebrate your life. Celebrate that you are a body. That you came in as flesh in life. All right, so set those foundations, you guys. And just keep going. My coffee tastes really good today, by the way. So salud. I hope you guys are drinking your coffee. Cheers. Cheers. Mm, so scrumptially umptious. Okay, so there you have it. I love you guys. I'm so very proud of you guys. I feel very honored to be in your guys' presence, even though you're not here with me. I wish you guys were all with me. If you ever need anything, please reach out to me. Sometimes we just need people to listen to us, and we just need to be heard, and that's awesome because that's part of it too, is being able to like let it out, right? And then be feel like we're heard, and that's it, right? Not that nothing needs to be fixed, but just that we need to be heard. So if you ever need to be heard, let me know. um I do a lot of this talking too because it helps me, it helps you help me, and hopefully in some ways I'm helping you all. That's at least what I'm trying to do, leave a legacy of wisdom. Okay. Oh, master required in, okay, Massachusetts. That's MA, right? Sorry. Oh, I should know this. Okay, they're required. Okay. How are you feeling about that, Reggie? The thing is like we are going to be there's a couple of things I feel, and I want to just get into this really quickly because I know some people that you should have masks, you should da, da, da. Okay, first of all, it is choice that is going to be taken away from us and being coerced into what we should or shouldn't do. Okay, that is not the right way to administer public health. um when you talk about public health, right, it's always, and it should be, if it's done correctly, the voice of everybody, not just dictatorship. This is what you should or shouldn't do. Now, they're going to give you data to tell you this is how you should engage and this is what you should do. And we're doing it because of these reasons. But again, it's personal choice. So if I don't wear it, then what? If I don't wear this, then what? Are there consequences? And by whom is giving me these consequences? And by who is laying the law? Who gives you the right? What did I sign that said that I would give over my right to breathe freely or not breathe freely, right? So there's a lot of things to unpack. Now some people say, well, you should be wearing it, but it's still a choice, right? It's almost like we have these pro-choice issues and stuff like that. There's two sides of the coin. Okay, and this is just informational. What you choose is totally up to you, but there will be a time where I believe, okay, could be totally wrong, where they're going to be like, you either do this or you ain't going to have this. And I think that you can come to a point of peace and tranquility if you set yourself up. But that's going to take people that want to live out in the wilderness and are ready for that. And most people aren't, because we've been afforded so many luxuries living in the system we live in. We're comfortable. There's been nothing to put us into a state of uncomfortability. Now, is it good? Yeah, being uncomfortable is good sometimes because it gets you to move your ass, right? It gets you to like get up and be like, oh shit, I better do something, right? But sometimes what it does is it people freak out and panic and they don't know what to do because they haven't set anything in motion. So take a breather, take a time out, and you guys prepare for what you guys want to say yes or no to. Do you want people inflicting things upon you? Do you want your choices to be taken away and be coerced into or forced into a certain way of being? You don't have to be, but your certain things, certain pleasures, certain comforts are going to be cut off eventually. It's a new era. We're stepping into a new era. And those who are resistant to it are going to get very uncomfortable. Yeah, you wonder when those who get immunity, yeah. And there's an agenda at play. I'm telling people right now, if you're not preparing to go live out in the wilderness because you don't want to be part of this system, then you're not making the right, you're not what you're doing is you're staying stuck in the conspiracy and you're not taking the steps that need to happen to get you to the place you want to be so that you can reject it peacefully. Reject peacefully. You don't have to reject in war. But most people don't know this. So we will probably see people that fight, and we don't have to fight. We don't have to if we set ourselves up to win. There are going to be people who want to be chipped, and that's okay. That's their choice. We can't make them wrong. Who are we to judge what they want to do with their own body? People will willingly want to do it. Other people are not. The ones that are not don't need to resist in a way. They're going to resist because guess what? They're not going to live in the comfort that they used to. It won't be comfortable. You're going to have to live off the land. So if you don't know how to live off the land, that's why you might be freaking out a little bit. So start learning how to garden, start learning how to forage, start learning all these different things that you may not have been focusing on. If I were to get land, where would it be? If I were to leave this place and not be dependent upon the system, where would I go? Am I so codependent on the system that I might have to choose in? If that's the case, if you have to go in the direction of choosing into the digital era, guess what? At least choose in powerfully. At least set yourself up to win, to actually win in that system. You guys, it's just a game. It's a game. If you understand the rules of the game, you'll know how to play it. If you know how to play it, you're going to be at an advantage. They probably don't want me to be saying this shit. I can guarantee you. I have a troll on here who's constantly bashing me, and I don't care. The reality is, it doesn't matter what the truth is, you guys. It's like we could sit here. I want to get into this because I think it's super critical. We can get into, oh, well, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. So what? So what? Now what? We're going to stay talking about that forever and then one day they're going to knock at our door and force us into it? Or are we going to be critical thinkers and think, shit, if this is to happen, what would I do? And start making those moves. Start asking yourself how I would move forward if this were to happen. Take those proactive approaches. Rather than sitting back and talking about the conspiracy. What if this? What if that? Okay, good. It's good to get there, but who gives a shit? At the end of the day, you got to start taking action. This is the Masonic principles I'm talking about. This platform is designed to support you guys, right? It's about love. It's remembering God's always there, but to eliminate the fear, love dissolves all. So if we bring ourselves back to love, how can we? By educating ourselves on what we're going to do. What do you want to do? What is your choice? I know my choice, but who gives a shit what my choice is? What choice are you going to make? What is it? What are you going to decide to do? Are you going to go this way or are you going to go this way? If you're not going to go this way, what are you doing to support yourself to go this way? Because if you're just talking about it, you're stuck here. And guess what? When it all comes down, you have not prepared. And so you're going to fight. And you don't need to fight. You can walk away peacefully. Think about Bible stories. They gave us those stories for a reason. History repeats itself. We're just in a big, big story. Now, in the story, what happened? They said, Noah, build an ark. And he did. And they ridiculed him and whatever. Okay. Whether this is myth, truth, whatever, doesn't matter. It's a story. But it's a reason that there's a story there. It's to teach you. So you go, okay, I'm building this ark. Why? Because when the shit comes, I can go peacefully. I'm preparing. And while they're arguing about this and if the flood's going to come or not come, I'm preparing. Let's see. Okay, the only scary part is how people are willing to turn on their neighbors. I'd have to read if this was occurred. Yeah. So yes, and people will. And that's, I mean, we will, I think, I don't know if it's 100% going to come to that, and it may. But what are you doing to prepare? What are you doing to prepare? If you have these ideas, so Reggie, what I would say is in your mind, you have these ideas about what you feel is going to happen, right? You've done research, you've pulled, you've kind of made your idea. You're a critical thinker. I know you are. I can tell. And you've sort of come up with the idea of how things might go down. Okay. What are you doing to prepare you and your family? So if you have an idea, then you kind of can take that idea and say, okay, here's what I'm going to do to prepare if this were to happen. You're going to get prophecy, you're going to get insight, you're going to get, prophecy is not really prophecy. It's more like I'm looking at the patterns and I can see a trend here. And this trend tells me that if this happens, then this is probably going to happen. It's the likelihood of this happening is high. Doesn't mean it's 100%, but it means that it's pretty high. So in that, I know what precautions I can take if we're going in that direction. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Because we have a ton of people out there that are talking about the issues. I'm like, I'm done with hearing the issues. Like, honestly, I know that there's an issue. It's obvious. People are suffering right now. People are losing their jobs, blah, 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 blah. Yes, okay, fine. Now what? So what? Who cares? Now what do we do? What are we gonna do? It's up to us to create what happens next. So go out and start to take, and I'm doing what I'm doing, but y'all, I don't think y'all gonna follow me unless you want to. I mean, shoot, I'm okay with that. Right? I know where I'm going. You want to come along? Cool. Let's talk about it. Reach out to me, Natalie. Let's set something up. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with saying let's create something that's going to support us to walk away peacefully if we choose not to be part of the digital era. For those who want to be part of the digital era, I can support you too. What does it look like to choose into that powerfully? It's your choice. I'm not here to tell you what to choose. I'm simply here to support you so that you can choose powerfully, whatever you choose. Okay? Whatever it is that you choose. I'm not the judge. That is not my function. That is not what I'm here for. I'm not here to make people wrong for what they think or what they want to do, right? They're only acting on the information they have for themselves and their own perception. Okay? And we don't know the whole story. We can't. It's nearly impossible to do that. We're part of God, but we are not God, right? We go back into source, but we can't see it all. We don't. We're human. And we're here to engage in it. But you have a choice. Okay? You have choice. Just remember that. Always remember God's with you, you have choice. God's with you, you have a choice. God's with you, you have a choice. God's with you, you have a choice. Every choice has a consequence. If you understand what the consequences are, you have the power to choose. And in that power to choose, you can choose in powerfully to either one of those, knowing exactly what to do, staying in harmony and peace. You can stay in harmony and peace in your choice. If you kind of foresight, lay it out that way. First, ask yourself, what am I going to choose? I have the data. I understand what I see from my perception. I'm willing to take in more information always. Okay. And it shifts. Based on this information, here's what I've received. I have a choice. What are my choices? Choice A, choice B. Okay, these are my choices. What am I going to choose? If this were to happen, what would I choose? Now, in that, what are the consequences of choosing this? What are the consequences of choosing that? Okay, lay it out. I understand what the consequences are. What can I shift within my choice that would help me to come back to my foundation, my stability, my love, my freedom, my peace, my tranquility. And we could walk away peacefully. We don't have to walk away in anger, and we don't have to start wars, and we don't have to turn on our neighbors. But we will, because why? Because we want to stay in the comfortable. We want to stay in our houses. We want to stay with our TVs. I'm not saying everybody, right? But this is what it is. It's the human condition holding on to comforts. It is not going to be comfortable to walk away from the digital era. Why? Because that means that we have to learn how to live off the land again. That's not easy. And if you haven't started to practice, good luck. I'm not saying that I'm a genius at it, because I'm not, but will I walk away? Yes. And will I do what I need to do and have faith and walk with God? Yes, because to me, that's me walking with God. Me. Doesn't have to be your choice. Okay, so that's me. If you choose to go into the what I'm calling it reincarnation at this point. If you choose to be reincarnated, if you choose to choose into the digital era, nothing wrong with that. Make sure that you're prepared to choose into it. What are the consequences if I choose in? What do I need to know to choose in? Lay it all out, and then say, okay, I'm ready. Boom. Okay. Bring your guys' self back to love. Okay. So hopefully this helps. Again, I know what I'm doing. You are more than welcome. To Reggie, if you're still on here, you are more than welcome to reach out to me at any time. I tell you guys this all the time, spiritandbrew@gmail.com. You can email me. You can message, inbox me if you want to connect. You know, if you're interested at all at what I'm doing and what I'm up to, I'm not going to do that on this platform, because that's not what this platform was designed for. So if you're interested in, like, well, how are you moving forward, what are you doing, you have those kind of questions, we can maybe do a Zoom call with people who are interested. I'm open to sharing ideas, collaboration, and asking what people think it looks like. That's what I'm up to. So if you guys are interested in any of that, please reach out to me. If you need clarity as to what I'm talking about, and kind of want more understanding so that you can do your own research and do your own critical thinking to make adjustments where you need to, reach out to me. That is what I'm here for. Okay. Um, so hopefully you guys can take me up on that offer. So thank you, Reggie, for talking about it's like a bank robber's nightmare. Oh yeah. Um, So please, please, please reach out. Please let me know. I love you guys so, so, so much. I just want you guys to know that I do truly love you. Um, and I just want you guys to know that you don't need to be afraid, because there's nothing to fear. Just get yourself educated. Do as much reading and research that you can do now. We're not just listening to people, but research. Go find peer review articles. People, I'm not talking about just some blogger, but go on to Google Scholar and pull up articles. Read books. Like, I'm reading this book called The End of Times, which is a physics book, right? It's a physics book. This is scientific book. Some of the words I don't even know, but I teach myself. I'll go and I'm like, I don't know the word, and you can teach yourself how to understand certain things. You can literally teach yourself if you understand what I taught you guys the other day, which is the trivium: logic, grammar, logic, rhetoric, simple process. Teach yourself. You can teach yourself any subject this way, and start to think critical, start to connect the dots. Okay? Whatever you choose is not wrong. It's just where you're at and what's good for you. Okay? And that's okay, because God loves you no matter what, right? God's with you always. God is love. So there's going to be God in every scenario. It doesn't matter where you go, which way you go. God will always be with you. It's almost like Jesus Christ said. I like that. Jesus Christ, right? They were like freaking out, and he was dying or whatever. And he's like, no, God's always with you. I'm always with you. I'm never going away. It's not, I'm not, we don't just go away. I'm always here. I'm always with you. And, you guys are always with me, and I'm always with you. So God is with you. God, no matter which way you go, digital era or not digital era, God's always going to be there. You just have to remember that. That's it. Simple. Okay. All right. And that God loves you. That's it. Simple. Okay. So I love you guys. I'm gonna go work out. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you for joining me on my birthday. I appreciate it. There's no gift better than to be able to share time with you. Again, I wish you guys were here in front of me. That would be so amazing. One day, perhaps that'll happen. Okay. So love you, love you, love you. Have the best day ever. And enjoy it. Okay. Love you. Bye.